I just want to go over this project that we're like 99% complete on and kind of show you what the process looks like. So this is the sales page finished, well 99% finished. I'm just going to run through it real quick. So there's our banner image, a couple of features and benefits to their program. And I'll go way more into depth on this. Just want to do a quick run through. This is calling out your audience. I feel your pain. This is the journey that we're going to go on together. Here's where you are. This is where you want to be. Here's what sets us apart. Here's who we are. This is our whole concept. The East meets West. East meets West. Testimonials. A little blurb there. Then this is for you if. And then here's features and benefits. More testimonials. This goes into depth on the programs. And this is like putting yourself in that picture. This is everything that you get. Breaking everything down to the value. The two different options. And then apply now. So you can see there's been call to actions all throughout the page as well. So that's the almost finished product. There's going to be a few more tweaks, and you know, a web page, sales page, any kind of project like this is like laundry. You're never really done, but this is 99% as done as it's going to get. So let's look into the process. Whenever, now let me just kind of backtrack a little bit. The women who have hired me to work with them on this, I know both of them. I've worked with Nadine before. I've met Shivani a couple of times on Skype or Zoom. We've actually met in person as well. So they're both familiar with me and my work, and I'm familiar with them and their work, which really helps at the get-go because I kind of have a feel for their style and what they want and who they are. Although if I don't, then it's not too hard to get to know someone. But they came to me about a month ago wanting to put this project together. This is what I initially got from them. So I'm just going to roll through what they brought to the table. So this is kind of what they had in mind for the header image. I did none of the copy on here except for like just tiny tweaks, but most of this was them. So you can see, well, I'm just going to roll through this and then we'll go back and forth. Lots and lots of text. So you see how that's just like lots of text. Nobody's going to read all that when it's all together. That's where a designer comes in. And it really helps if you have someone who is familiar with sales because they know how to break this down in a way that's easy for the buyer to digest. So whenever I get this copy, like these mean, that's that means put in a button if there isn't a button there. And all the images, like for the headshot image, I did get in a separate file. And then here's, of course, they put their notes back and forth to each other in this document. This we didn't actually use, but we kept this here just for reference in case we wanted to pull from it. Testimonials came in a separate document. So this is for you if it's time for change. That means put in a button. So you can see here, like they wanted the clarity, connection, messaging and branding, performance management, systems, and signature programs. I'm going to go back and forth in a second to show you how that looks whenever it's put together. But the ladies, they already had an idea here, kind of how they wanted that to look, which does help me as a designer in a way. So that way I kind of already, you're sharing your vision with me. So then more testimonials. And then this is how they had envisioned their two programs, the Rajasthan Experience and the Chicago Collective. And then the value summary, your investment, your time to rise, and a nice quote at the end. Oh, terms and conditions link. I need to do that. Okay. So that's a quick run through of both documents, or the document and the final file. So now let's kind of talk about the process. Like once I get this, obviously this looks very different than the outcome. This is where a designer comes in. So looking at this image, to me it's very generic. They almost look like they're like nurses or, you know, students or something. I don't know. It didn't speak to the richness of the personalities that they are, like what brings to the table. This is very bland to me. So instead of going with that, I came up with this concept of a woman on her laptop kind of dreaming of India, dreaming of the big city and the bright lights, and how that all kind of flows together. I think that does much better for a header image, that first impression, than these bland women who are just not really speaking to anything emotional. Because people buy for emotional reasons. Like this speaks to emotions. So that's kind of what I was going for with that. This did come under several iterations. This was not the first iteration of this. As a matter of fact, if I open up Photoshop, we can go to, we can kind of see how this has evolved. Initially, we were using some of Nadine's old branding, which looked like that. So let's see if we can find one of these old banners that I haven't already copied over. So that's the first iteration. We're not far from where we started, but the newer branding, the updated branding, has much more sophisticated colors and sophisticated logo. That was something Nadine had. That was her branding from like 2 years ago. So this is much more sophisticated and really shows up on here. So there we go. So let's go back and forth. So that's what they had envisioned. And this is where the designer comes in to polish that up a little bit. So by creating this new logo, I also created a new mandala. And then what we did different than was in the source document, they just wanted to have like a button that went to each. And this is actually going to initially be a whole separate page. But I really wanted to like call out how special this is, because very few masterminds that I know of have experiences like this that are included in the mastermind. So there's 2 retreats included. So I really wanted to feature that up front. And this is a clickable link that goes down to each section. And this one goes down to the Chicago section. So if somebody does want to find out about it, they can easily click the buttons or click the image. But it's not just a button. Like this says, wait, you know, picture does say 1,000 words. All right, next one. Let's go scroll down. Hello, brilliant one. So this is all this page right here. And initially we went with a very similar image. I mean, not similar as in aesthetically, but similar as in like the emotion that it conveys. We went with this one because like she's at her desk, she's surrounded by all this paperwork, and she's obviously overwhelmed. And this girl could just be having a bad headache, or the kids could be screaming. So it doesn't really call exactly to what the pain point is, which is business growth. So that's why I chose the image that I chose. We have a very rich background, which speaks to the rich personalities that are involved in this project. All right, so then you are not alone. That's where we end this section. So next section. And this is where we're talking about, this is where we all feel the same. And this ends at, yes, I'm ready. So that's all of this until, like from here to here is all right there. It's just laid out a little bit different. Next. This was really, to me, a really big sentence. I think that this is where it's really important to have an outsider's input, because, you know, of course, they have toyed back and forth over every single word in this copy. But this really stood out to me, like it's a soul journey. So I pulled out that copy to make that stand out. We actually went back and forth with several different layouts of the soul journey, but this one we stuck with because it kind of mimicked the Rise Mastermind logo. We have a beautiful picture here that kind of speaks to the spark that's inside of us and our inner child. And then, let's see, I guess I'm ready to expand is the next one. So all of this is all of that. It's just been laid out. So next is as high achieving women. So this really speaks to like the stress that we put on ourselves and how we put everybody else first, how we get sidetracked from what we really want to do because we tend to, as women, just we are the nurturers. And so this sentence right here is really important. It's time to remember your value. But this picture calls the pain point of I'm just not fulfilled, you know, I'm not reaching my potential. So I'm not stepping into my power. So that's what that call to action is for. And got a beautiful woman who's just having a bad day. So on the flip side, this is how we all want to feel, right? So let's go to the next one. They didn't give me any direction as far as artistic direction goes with this, so I just rolled with what I felt mimicked this feel of the copy, which is this is how we want to feel. We want to feel at peace, and we want to feel beautiful, and we want to feel hopeful. This copy really speaks to how, you know, we've been conditioned to kind of hustle, 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 and that works for a while, but it's not really sustainable for women. So, you know, of course, these days it's like, oh, women and men are equal. Well, yeah, but we're still different. So women and men operate different. So we're not meant to be in hustle mode. So that's why we really pulled out this word. Like this is a myth, or this sentence. This is a myth. So as women, we have the innate qualities to attract and invite the opportunities. And instead of push, 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 we invite and allow. So the next part is, there was a call to action there. No, there isn't. So the Rise Mastermind. There we go. So this is the next part. So what makes this different? And I almost included this part up there, but I don't know. I just felt like it was a good time to break. That's where having that input of a designer, it might be different than you envision, but you know, by collaborating, a lot of times it ends up being better. Like I didn't come up with all this branding on my own. This was collaboration of going back and forth with colors and shades of color and what color gold. We spent a good solid hour on what color gold we're going to use. So this is like, okay, in every sales page, you need to establish what makes you different than the next person, right? So what makes this different? Well, first of all, it's a personal transformation. So then what makes it different is there's two people hosting this, not just one. So this is Nadine and all about her qualifications, all about her, like she is a badass, and she used to work with Tony Robbins. Very, very go, 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 but also a mom and a wife and just a beautiful person inside and out. And then here's about Shivani. She's a business success and leadership expert and kind of where she comes from. This right here is so Shivani, where it says she's built a successful business that supports and works around her lifestyle, not the other way around. Like her business works for her. She is not a slave to her business. And so she brings that to other women. So that kind of talks about that. And then this is the whole, what makes this different is the East meets West. So together, they've cultivated a mastermind. Let's go back to this. You can see what I had to start with. So just a couple of paragraphs about them, and then it was up to me to lay it out in a way that was easy on the eyes and easy to separate the two, but then combine them together at the bottom. Alright, so we got the East meets West. This was, we actually didn't use this, but we just wanted to, I didn't want them to delete this part in case I wanted to use it later on, which we haven't yet. I don't think we will. But like a more formal bio, I really just didn't feel like it was necessary. This does go out to a warm market for them, so that the people are not completely clueless as to who these ladies are. So we go into some testimonials and then a nice little blurb there. Testimonials. Okay, so this is on every sales page. This is for you if. So here we go. Excuse me. The reason I chose this photo is, like, you know, when you're like researching something on your phone, like this is kind of the posture, the physical, like this is what we look like when we're looking at something on our phone. Like, okay, is this for me? So that's really like subconsciously calling to that. Like, is this for me? Is this what I'm looking for? And what they're really looking for is a change. So you pulled that copy out and made a graphic. And then next, so yes, I deserve it. This, okay, there's two sides to every sale, the features and the benefits. So the features are like all the doodads, and the benefits are what those doodads do. So you really want to start with the benefits first. Like these are all the benefits that they get, and then this is how it's delivered, is right here. Alright, then the next section, which they, like I said, they have this already laid out for me, kind of how they wanted it to be organized, and so I just followed their lead with that, and of course designed it right on out to match everything else. So here's what you can expect, and then here's some happy women who look just the way that their ideal client wants to look. Personally, I would have had this white section a little bit darker, but Shivani and Nadine were very, very specific on how much of this they wanted to see through. It's hard on my eyes to read, but then again, I do wear prescription glasses, so maybe that's just a Rita thing. Here's some more testimonials. Let's make sure that we're on the same page here. Alright, so testimonial 5 and 6. So let me make sure, yes, allow yourself to rise. That's what this said right there. And then here's where I kind of jumped the ship a little bit and did something a little bit different. We were going to do separate web pages for each of the retreats, but I figured out a way to keep the visitor all on the same page instead of having to click away. So this is like a miniature website and a website. So this is like everything that they wanted to say, including a promotional video for Rajasthan, which is put out by the Department of Tourism. Which, pro tip, if you are having a retreat or somewhere away, a lot of times the venue or the city will have a promo video that you can use. And here's the Chicago section. As you can see, the branding is very different because Chicago is a very different place than India. And so we really wanted this to be about like connecting with your inner, doing the inner work and reflecting and that sort of thing, where this is more about connecting, doing the outer work where you're networking and connecting and getting your style together, meeting people. And each of the ladies is doing a portion of the proceeds is benefiting a charity of their choice. So Nadine is donating to Puerto Rico from the hurricane efforts, and Shivani is donating to a women's charity in India. Okay, so let me go back to this, and you can see like there just wasn't to me enough copy to warrant having a whole separate web page anyway. And you can see that we've obviously expanded from this little bit of copy. So here's what your package includes. So this is the nuts and bolts. It's about selling a car, the features and the benefits. The features would be, leather seat, and the benefit of that would be like feeling like you're, encased in luxury. But then the details are, well, it has 4 tires and anti-lock brakes and, that sort of thing. So this is like the not very fun part of it, but people need to know this, so include it, definitely. The next is your value summary. So like this is what it's all worth, $67,000. And then we break down the investment, like how they pay. So this was a struggle for me because that's a lot of text And you want it to be easily digestible. So this is the solution that we're at right now. I'm not 100% happy with the way that this lays out on that gold. So I'll probably actually the gold lays out on those colors. So I'll probably actually go back and edit this logo to better stand out against that. But it's a working copy for right now. So it's the two different ways to buy the program, regular or the premium, which to me sounds like gasoline, but I didn't write the copy. And then this is just very simple. You don't have to wait any longer. It's your time to rise with a woman, all lit up in the background, the same kind of color family, beautiful stock image, and more testimonials, and a nice quote at the end. So each of these buttons, which you see are sprinkled throughout the entire page, which is a good idea to do. You want to have at least 3 buttons on your page for them to buy from you. This one I think has 5. That goes to a booking page where they can actually schedule their call. This is not finished, but so you can see it says placeholder. But you can get an idea, and then once they fill out their intake form, then they'll be directed to schedule a call, to book a call with one of them to see if they're accepted for the program. So that's what I've been working on. This project, all in all, has taken me so far 31 hours, so 32 hours. Probably got another 2 hours worth of work to do some finishing touches, to get that form put in, to change this to look the way that I want. Actually, I might just put that mandala. Put this. Now that I'm looking at this. That might be a sweet, easy little fix. Is just to put that symbol right there and right there. Actually, I think that's what I'll do. There you go. So that's that. Beautiful sales page, and this is what we started out with. So that's what a designer can do for you.